You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle. Hey guys, Jim Chester here with Liz Baker. She's coming from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm out here in the Grand Valley of Grand Junction on the western slope of Colorado. Nice little slow town. I feel like Doc Hollywood out here. But you know, what we're going to do is we're doing a afternoon live cast today with Dr. Liz. And just before we jump into that interview, I wanted to say that we are being sponsored today by Move Well University, and that is Dr. Todd Pickman. So if you guys want to learn how to be more functional in your chiropractic offices, check out Move Well University, Dr. Todd Pickman. Thank you for sponsoring and supporting the Chiro Hustle podcast. Now, Dr. Liz, how are you doing out there?
I'm doing good. We're kind of cold, but we're doing all right.
What's cold to you?
Anything below 40 is cold here. And it's been like 9. So. And
you're in the Mid-South in Tennessee?
Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it snows here, the South shuts down. We just close.
I saw they had like 4 inches out in South Carolina.
Yeah, which is a lot for them too. I think we had like 6 here. So the whole city just literally shuts the fuck down.
Well, they have palm trees out there in South Carolina. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's their state tree, the palmetto tree.
I saw that. That's pretty strange to me. Tristan was just out there speaking to the Palmetto State Association. So, cool for him. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about some things that are coming up. I know that we were off camera talking about one of the biggest events in chiropractic coming up. As a matter of fact, I have our shirt on. This is the grandfather of chiropractic, Dee Palmer, and we're going to be going out to Cal Jam soon. So let's talk about Cal Jam, and let's talk about the excitement.
It is the 1 week countdown, and I'm so excited because we've had a real rough week here in Nashville with the snow and the cancellations and moving schedules around for patients. So I'm ready to kind of just get back and have a reset week, which I've been looking forward to for months at this point. But Cal Jam is just awesome. I love what Billy D and Mary Jane have put together, and it's just like what I think it was Dan Sullivan said last year. You know, it's good to get re-dipped every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let's just throw some shout outs right away. Sean Rundle's coming in with Clothes for Chiro. They're also a sponsor of the Chiro Hustle podcast. He says his second favorite redhead.
Yeah. His first favorite is his daughter. So I got to let him slide on that one. But he's my first favorite Rundle.
And Rob Vasquez is coming in from Texas. Hey, he says, "What up, y'all?"
Yeah.
And
Linda and Jean-Marc, I saw said, "Hey,
the slacks are on saying hello." So yeah, it's cool to have the audience. And if you guys wouldn't mind, just go ahead and say where you guys are coming in from. Kind of juice up the comments a little bit, get the thing flowing. So Cal Jam, I'm excited. I'm excited to see all the people out there. I'm really excited. You know, wild card is Joe Ferrantelli. He started the Posture Pro app. I'm really excited to go out and see him. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Have you used that app?
I have. I love what they're doing with that. I think that it's helping having the conversation around chiropractic based on posture a lot easier for people to get.
Well, I take it with me when I do lunch and learns, and it's a good visual for people to see, you know, the layman to see, oh, they do look like they have a forward head posture, because nobody walks around looking at people like we do. I mean, just bringing it to their awareness, all of a sudden everybody in the room will go and sit straight up because they all realize they're doing this. So it's a good way to bring that awareness to them too.
Yeah, I'm a grocery store chiropractic assassin. I'm watching people. I'm like, I can see you need a chiropractor, huh? That looks like a subluxation. Your hips are rotated.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or when you're sitting in traffic, everybody in their car that looks like this. It's like, use your headrest. It's called a headrest.
Yeah, but that's just it. Is we've come into this culture of what I guess the terminology I'll use is text neck, like technology neck.
Yeah.
And how many? I guess a good question without going on script what we talked about.
Yeah.
How many cases are you seeing of that in like younger generations?
Oh man, it's baffling how young some of the kids are coming in. Literally, well, technically last week would have been this week had we been able to get her in soon, or sooner than this week. But last week we had her first initial evaluation, and just this morning went over her x-rays, and the girl's 15 years old. And if you just looked at her neck alone, I mean, it's really far forward. I mean, her head probably weighs about 40 to 50 pounds on her tiny little structure, and she's only 15. So part of it's sports as well as posture. Our kids are playing some pretty heavy duty contact sports on their little, unformed skeletons, and they're hitting pretty hard at 7 and 8 years old playing, football, but their bodies are not built for that yet. So they're getting those injuries much younger than, their bodies aren't able to handle that either.
Vicariously through their parents.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even when we were kids, can you remember that many kids being that super serious about, practice 4 or 5 days a week and then a game on Friday? I don't remember that happening. I went outside and hit sticks on trees and stuff during the week. I didn't do anything that heavy duty.
Caught lightning bugs and played pickleball.
Yeah, cartwheels in the front yard kind of stuff. So, I mean, they're just much more rough on themselves. And that's part of it, besides the video games and the phones and the iPads and everything else on top of that. Couple that with the backpack.
I come from the generation of mom yelled my name from the doorstep, and I had to come home when it was dark.
Yeah, same here, except we use the term holler. She hollered our name from the front porch.
Too funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that, as we get more advanced with chiropractic, we're going to have to worry more about the stresses of technology on people.
Absolutely.
And understanding the best way to deliver care to them, and sharing the chiropractic message with a younger generation, the millennials. And I think I picked this up from Mary Lucas Flannery, and she called it the Wi-Fi generation is following up on.
Yeah.
And the Wi-Fi generation is like the next behind the millennials, and we're going to have to figure out how to cross-market chiropractic to these fast-brained people, these the scroll-minded people, the people that are constantly flipping and
30 seconds of attention.
Yeah. But I think that, as we evolve, people are going to have more of a thirst for natural health, and they're going to learn more through, especially the way the chiropractors are marketing more. They're actually getting into the scroll feeds on a more regular basis. They're actually becoming more of a conversation because of technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing in the long run for chiropractic too, because people are smarter, and you're seeing more people caring about what's in their food and caring about, taking too many medications, which, 10 years ago, people didn't give a flying fuck about that. But now they're more aware of it. And can I cuss on here? I hope I can, because I just did. Anyway, but people are caring more about what they're doing and putting into their body, and they're just more aware of there being options outside of your traditional medical model.
Exactly. And we have another rock star that just joined our live stream, Dr. Dan Bay. He is one of the Clothes for Chiro gurus. He's the guy that's going to give you what do they say? The clothes with less stress.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier to get it that way too, when you know the rules of how to talk to this, the smarter people now. Your consumer is a lot smarter, and how to talk to them is super important.
Yeah, I think they call it the yes with less stress.
Yes, that's it. The yes with less stress.
So that's really let it fly, Baker, he says.
Yeah. He knows. So, I've known him for a while.
Yeah, Dan is he's a cornerstone to the success of the future of chiropractic, in my opinion.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
things that he's teaching people. And I knew that was one of the things we wanted to discuss today was business.
Yeah.
The busyness of the system. Let's talk about business and where you were and where you are and where you're going a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll try to shorten my history here just for time's sake, but previous to meeting Dan back in 2013. Yeah. Let it rip. So I met him back in 2013, but prior to that, I was an associate, an independent contractor, kind of flipped back and forth there. But I was in an office that was about to file bankruptcy, and I wasn't making any money. And I knew I needed to get out and do something different, either start from scratch, open up my own, or look for another office to kind of jump into. Because what I knew at the time was what I didn't want to do. Like, oh, I know not to do that. But my big fat question mark was, well, what the fuck do you do? Because, knowing what not to do is important, but also you got to know what to do. And that's what kind of led me to, where I met Dan back in 2013. And it took me a little while to save up money to go, because I literally made like $250 the entire month of March as my take home. I mean, I was living with my mother. It was one of those classic sad, chiropractic stories of just you're working hard but not getting anywhere. You're just constantly trying to dig out of a hole. But fortunately, I've learned how to sell chiropractic to our modern consumer and how to talk their language and how to use sales tricks, or not tricks, I guess, sales lessons to get them to understand what I'm doing. And you do it in such a formatted way that they understand the information you're presenting them so that they can make an informed decision to not have any kind of problem handing you over their money to pay you for the service that you give them. Because, I mean, we can all agree it's the best product that we have to offer out there healthcare wise.
Getting the yes with less stress. And I think that that's something that all chiropractors need to learn how to do, because honestly, Baker, they get thrown out there on a little island, just like you.
Yeah.
You get like a few seeds to plant with, you get a few tools to learn how to like hunt with, and then you're like stuck on an island and you just kind of like go on your own. You either sink or swim.
Yeah. And I was sinking and I was drowning. I was treading water up to here at that point. But I'm happy to say since 2013, I had to first get it out of the red and bring it to even. But I was so close. I was so fucking mad. I was like $100 away from doing $500,000 in collections this year. So I was so fucking close. It was like that last $100 is just keeping us from getting there. So I went from being tanked in the hole to $500,000 in collections in 2017. So still not up there with any of the biggest top offices by any means, but from where I was to where I am now, a hell of a lot better.
But yeah, that's something that I think most chiropractors need to hear. They need to hear that, I fall down, I bumped my head, I've skinned my hands. I wasn't always killing it. I wasn't always doing well. But what was the one ingredient that you added to yourself to actually get over that mark and get to the more successful practice?
Well, like I said, I worked with Dan, and that was the first big handout to get me out of that hole, to get me out, back on level ground with everybody else. Just from, I think I went in August of 13 till the end of 2013. I actually grew the office just 40% in that last kind of quarter and a half, just by not doing stupid shit anymore and actually running my business like a business. I mean, we sell chiropractic. That's our service. That's our product. And I had to learn how to actually do that, as opposed to the way I was previously taught by another coaching group that we'll just leave unnamed, but get people to like you. Though you discount your prices. Oh, your prices are too high. It's like, no, people are used to paying money for medical services. Why can't we fall in that same category? Because we're using our body to do what we do, and I'm going to be paid for it.
Well, so. It reminds me of this, Liz. It reminds me of it's not over until we win. And I don't think that all coaches have that mentality. I think that it's not over until they get your 5K. And I think that that's the difference between what they're doing with Close for Chiro is I don't think they're an actual coaching group. I think they're a get shit done and execute group.
They're they're the uncoaching group, because they have to because there's a lot of folks in there. I mean, I'm not the, most seasoned out of school veteran. I've only been graduated since 2010, but they're kind of undoing some of the stuff. Some of the older guys have been taught for, 30 years to do it this way. And they're totally saying, fuck that shit, throw it out the window, start over. And it really makes a big difference, because our consumers have also grown since the 80s. I mean, back in the 80s, where people are just kind of, everything's new, everything's awesome. They just trust everything the medical community has to say. People are way smarter than that now. And we have to migrate with that.
I call that the yellow page revolution.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We don't even need to be advertising in the yellow pages anymore, because I don't even remember the last time I had one dropped off at my front doorstep. It's all online now. So you have to market things online.
I just got one out here in Grand Junction, and I actually took the thing and recycled it. Yeah. Like, what am I going to do in there?
Yeah, ours, if we do get one, occasionally we'll just put it right into the shred box.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle.
So
now that we talked a little bit about Cal Jam, which is going on next weekend, it's going to be like
Yay!
the what is it? Pump Up the Volume or High Voltage tour.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I always love how Billy finds a way to market his event each year. So this year's like,
Yeah.
heavy metal and rock stars. So
Kind of the AC/DC look.
yeah, be prepared for like a high voltage experience out there in Costa Mesa. And now we talked business. We talked a little bit about where we're going. Let's talk about Chiro Sushi. I should have paid Tristan for that plug a moment ago, but he said you're going to be speaking at Chiro Sushi soon.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about how you got that experience and what it's going to do. And I don't know. Let's share some love for that crew.
Well, one of my goals for this year, of course, growing the business, continuing to grow here, and hopefully getting an associate, but is to do more speaking and do more getting out, because what I've learned in just a few years of being in practice and being the boss lady and learning to take, the bull by the horns, or by the balls, whatever. A little more hearty there, but I want to do more speaking engagements. I want to get out and talk to people, because I have a desire to spread the message that you don't have to change who you are to be successful in your practice. Just because the doc down the road might be doing, high volume practice, they might be the big guy in your town. Don't try to be like him. Be different than him. If you aren't like that person, don't try to be like that person. Don't be somebody you're not, because you're never going to be true to yourself. You're not going to be able to be true to your patients if you're not being authentic, to your own self. So that's kind of that's my little platform in my soapbox. So I don't have anything to sell. I don't have anything to market, but it's just more mindset stuff that I'll be talking about there. So I'm looking forward to that in, June? I think the third weekend in June, back in over in Vegas. So it should be nice and hot by then too.
Yeah, Vegas is definitely going to be a very hot one. And, let's just say some loving words out there for the Shabs. Tim, he just joined us. He says, great to hear you guys. Tristan is such an advocate for the profession. A lot of people probably are misunderstood a little bit by the Tristan Schaub man, but that guy has he's got a full arsenal of attack to get chiropractic more mainstream.
Yeah.
And I love what those guys are doing with the Chiro Sushi movement. I don't know. They don't know really what to call it, but they are definitely pumping up the volume for the chiropractic future. And I think, even Liz, some of the questions and things that people were asking a week ago are changing because of what we're doing so progressively with the chiropractic message now. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's what I want to help get doctors out of their offices to spread that message to their community. Because our ultimate goal should be, let's be popular amongst other chiropractors. That's all great and good. But what the real shift is going to be is if you're popular in your community to people that don't know chiropractic. It'd be way better if we were all popular in our towns, so that it's like, oh, your kid has acid reflux. Oh, you need to go see Dr. So-and-so. He's great at this, and they're not going to put your kid on medication for it. Oh, really? I didn't know that they could help with that. I would love to see that be just more of a mainstream option, as opposed to people are fucking clueless that we even could do something like that. Like, why would you take your kid to a chiropractor? I wish people knew more of that kind of stuff. So,
but I think that the conversation's changing. From our talk of kids in sports to technology and the spine, the conversation is changing, because I think that there's a lot of more smart people that are really looking forward to getting a natural health source out there. Yeah. And what did you say earlier? It's the best health product on earth. So why do we have to still demystify what actual pure chiropractic is?
Is exactly what you're saying, is because we still have to demystify it. People don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So we have to take it off the shelf of this voodoo woo-woo stuff and actually put it on the shelf of, there's some damn science behind this, guys. That's been around for long enough that we have research, we have studies, we have proof that this stuff actually works. And there's tons of research in, reputable medical journals that people are just fucking ignoring, which drives me nuts. But as soon as you hand them something that's been in the British Medical Journal, they're like, oh, this is a real journal. This is not just some little hokey chiropractic journal. It's like, no, this is real thing. So the more people know, the more that they'll, understand.
One of the first things that really stood out to me, Dr. Liz, is I saw how people's spines changed with chiropractic biophysics care. Mm-hmm. And then I saw a study of how people's blood work changed pre and post adjustment.
Yeah,
and when you have things that people can see, the research behind,
measurable,
it's not just somebody saying, oh, I adjusted you and you feel better. Yeah, I feel better. Come back whenever you feel bad again.
Yeah.
No.
We've got to shift that symptomatic mindset, because that's what's keeping our country so unhealthy, is that we're only focused on when it hurts and when it doesn't feel right or when I feel bad. We've got to switch that paradigm to, change the oil in your car before the oil light comes on. I mean, people get that concept. They just don't apply it to their own bodies.
Yeah, it's like the old adage of you don't drive your car until you run out of gas.
Right.
Like that's even an easier analogy. Like
Yeah.
who does that?
Right.
Like, oh, I just ran out of gas last week. I ran out of gas like a month ago. Like I ran out of gas tomorrow. Like people just don't do that. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And
we take better care of our cars than we do our own body, and you can get a new car.
Yeah, there's no lease on a new body.
No.
So I know you said that you guys have had some snow down there in Tennessee, and I was going to ask you a little bit about goals. And I know we just flipped over a new year, and you're in like January now. It's like, what is it? Today's the 18th. So you're 18 days into this year. Are you hitting your goals of 2018 for January, or how's that looking?
Well, this week I would say it threw us for a little bit of a loop just with the weather, but up until this week we were doing just fine. So I know we'll catch back up by February's beginning. So sorry, there's a big delivery truck that just pulled up outside the window.
I didn't even hear them.
Okay. But we'll be back on track by February, no problem. So I'm not too worried about it, because we started the year out prior to Christmas. We already had a fully booked first week. I already had, I think, 8 new patients on the books to start out the first week of the new year. So I wasn't too concerned about having to take off, day and a half this week from snow. So
Hey,
we'll catch back up.
It's just the force of nature. And I think that what you're doing out there and your area of Nashville is definitely making a healthier community out there. And I think that's really the presence of what a chiropractor is. We need to find, though, just like you, how you found your success back. We need to go out there and harvest the chiropractic community and find the ones that are struggling and that are challenged. And we need to retool them and teach them how to be leaders in their community again and get their tail out between their legs and how to go out there and be successful and to really make an impact like they went to school for.
Exactly. And then the other side of that is, there's a level of docs that I've personally met and have met over the last couple of years that they are struggling and they're willing to admit they're struggling. And that's when they're like, I'm fucking ready for help. But then you've got this other side that I want to say their ego's getting in the way. I went to this school. I got this big bad degree. I know everything, but they're not doing well still. And they can't admit that they're not doing well until it's too late. And then they're scrambling to just try to do whatever they can do to try to put the blocks back together. So I'm hoping we can change both of those types of groups of chiropractors, because we've got the ego running guys that, I'm doing it fine. I've been doing it this way for 25 years. But if they actually learned what they were doing is wrong, they could fix it and be doing it so much better. Because with 25 years experience, I mean, you got to be a way better adjuster after that long of, doing it, but you may not necessarily be a way better business person. So we have to run our businesses like businesses and put our egos aside and admit when we're not doing things like we would like to be doing.
And the analogy I like to use, Dr. Liz, is it's like trying to climb a rope with grease on your hands.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good of a rope climber you are, but if there's grease on there, you're not going to get to the top of the rope. It doesn't matter. Unequivocally, you cannot climb a rope with greasy hands. Right. So you can't be successful once you're already sinking. So you need to do the course correction, find out the ways to implement success back into your practice. And then, so much of it, even stuff I've learned from Liam Schubel, so much of it is about self-esteem.
Yeah.
And you can be the smartest gal or guy out there, but if you don't have the self-esteem, that's a problem.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I think they'll hide it with an ego to kind of hide what they're uncomfortable with. But just getting better at admitting that I need help, I think would take a lot of chiropractors to the next level just right away if they could just admit they needed help or that they didn't know what they didn't know. And then also have to understand that you have to put in fucking time. I mean, you can't just go to one seminar and be like, I'm an expert in that now. No, it takes what did they say, 10,000 hours or something to be considered an expert at anything. So once you learn it, you have to also practice it and master it and then continue with that mastering so that you can keep going up. And I think that's what a lot of chiropractors are lazy, I think, in some cases. But, we can be a lazy group because we do have to work harder than our medical counterparts. They don't have to market as hard as we do. They get patients that are just constantly coming in, whereas we have to get our patients from, continually farming them. So.
Bingo. And you said it. I couldn't have served you up a better volleyball set for you to spike, because, when it comes down to it, chiropractors don't go to school to become marketers.
Mm-mm. But we have to.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
There's probably not one course that you guys get in school to go out there and run a spinal screening weekend event.
Yeah, I think I got some lame information on it, but not really a whole class on it or anything.
But yet we expect you to get out of school and now all of a sudden, snap of fingers, go out there and learn how to run a marketing event.
Yeah, I mean, you have to learn it along the way. You have to admit you don't know what you're doing so that you can learn how to do it.
That's cool because I'm coming out with an information product teaching people how to become master screeners. And I think that that's a ninja skill that people can go out and harvest their communities. And then what they can do is they can team up with a group like Dr. Dan Bay with the Clothes for Chiros of Sean Rundle and Jennifer Rosenhart. And then they can harvest their communities with proper screening techniques. And then they get their wheels moving with a new stream of patients. And then they can close them and get the yes with less stress, which I think is something that if we can learn how to harvest the community properly, not just digitally. Digital is great, but what do they always say? For a successful business, you got to have multiple streams.
Yeah. And I would say even that if somebody's concerned about money financially, you need to learn to close patients first before you are flooded with an office of new patients that you're not closing, because you're going to be putting your efforts and energy into the back end when you need to be putting it in the front end to keep the ones you've got, so that you can have more freedom to learn how to get more to come in.
Yeah, today I think, Dr. Liz, we had a very intelligent interview, very intelligent conversation on all things chiropractic. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience?
Nah, but if you're going to be in Cal Jam, I won't be hard to miss. I'm kind of weirdly tall and redheaded, so say hi.
Yeah, my technique is to take a selfie with people, give them my card, and say, hey, if you're interested in coming on the Chiro Hustle podcast, stay in touch with me.
Yeah, there you go.
I learned that technique from Barb Eaton last night. She was on the phone with me. She's like, yeah, you should probably do this. Take a selfie with people, ask them to post that, and then ask them give them your card and say, hey, why don't you come on the show with me?
Yeah, there you go. Good idea.
Good marketing, right?
So everybody that's watching, watch out for him.
And I look forward to seeing everybody out at Cal Jam, especially you, Dr. Liz.
Yeah, that's where we met last year.
That is first time, like Cal Jam brings good people together.
Absolutely.
And I think that, if you guys, I don't want to like throw any sinkers or lobs to people, but the thing is if you can get over the whole chemtrail thing and the whole, conspiracy theorist of an event, not to say anything bad about Cal Jam, but you don't want to take somebody that's new to chiropractic to Cal Jam, I'd say. Like,
it's definitely the next level kind of an event,
Yeah, but they have like thought leaders in different genres, and Billy's idea is to bring everybody into chiropractic. So,
which is awesome.
And a lot of times chiropractic events lose steam because it's the same faces and it's the same rhetoric and it's the same group of people that kind of preach to the same choir. So I love what Billy's doing is getting chiropractic outside of chiropractic, and what's the best way to do that, and to find the most popular people on earth that have the biggest followings and to bring them into the family.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. What they're doing is great, and I'm super excited to get over there and watch all those speakers and mingle with everybody and check out the vendors. It's a good event. So if you've never been, why haven't you been?
Yeah, and I recommend everybody buy your cool T-shirts on day one because they won't be around on day two.
Nope. Don't tell everybody that. I didn't get one last year.
That's my pro tip.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's see. I got a comment here. Let's just throw a few more out there. Neil Pye says awesome. Victor Sage says Baker rocks. Armina Phelps says yeah. Sean Rendell gives another shout out for the Chiro Sushi event. Carol Wright Smith says Chester, you rock for chiropractic. Eric Weber, C4C celebrity, closed for Chiro celebrity. You're turning up the volume. You're making an impact. I just want to say, everybody out there, thank you for joining the Chiro Hustle live stream on this Thursday, the 18th. And thank you for MoveWell University, Dr. Todd Pickman, for being such a rock star and supporting everything that we do. And shameless plug, if you guys are interested in becoming a sponsor of the Chiro Hustle podcast, speak loud and proud about what we're doing. And we're just going to be crushing it for the rest of the year, putting out an interview equivalent to 365 this year. So if you guys are not on the Chiro Hustle train, send me a personal message, direct message, whatever you want to say, and I will link up with you and we'll get you guys on an episode. But until then, Dr. Baker, love and appreciate you too. Thank you for sharing your truth. Thank you for talking about all things chiropractic.
Yeah.
And have a rocking day.
You as well.
All right. See you at Cal Jam.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.